Hi everybody, this is IntuitiveEdge, back on again. I'm back in the saddle, ready to make videos again after a little bit of an absence from YouTube and Rumble. I've been taking some time off. I had some business stuff to do and some personal stuff to attend to, and I needed to focus on that. But I'm back, here I am. I'm excited to get back into doing videos. There's been a lot going on since I left, and it's been chaotic, and I'm actually glad I took some time off because I really needed to focus on other things. And the news cycle just doesn't stop. It's always churning. But let's take a look at some things. Now, recently, we've had several topics come up. We've had the Anheuser Busch fiasco, debacle, boycott. That's quite a story in and of itself. Where is that heading? What caused it? I've got so many thoughts on this one. But we'll have to just piece these through little by little as we go along. The other one is what's happening in Sudan. I tuned in psychically on this one as I was driving this morning. And I really feel like the story coming out of there is not what is really happening. I really feel like we're not getting the truth. And there's something going on behind the scenes with it. I was getting some interesting stuff. I might get into that in a couple minutes here. And then there's Tucker Carlson, what's happening there. Fox News seems to be making some big kind of blunders because Tucker was such a beloved. Some people, I believe, watched Fox News only to watch Tucker Carlson. So, whether you like him or don't, a lot of people did. And Fox News, it's like, what are you doing here? So there's always an agenda. There's always a story. There's always something behind the scenes. And intuitively, that's what's fun, to dig around and find out what's really going on. So let's start off with the Sudan. So I don't know if I'm going to get into tarot cards tonight. I might. But I'll just get down to business on what I was picking up intuitively this morning. So what I was getting when I focused on that is it felt like the government there is very corrupt. Now, I'm sure that that's not a surprise to anyone. Most governments have a level of corruption. But there was also the sense of this being a proxy war. Like somebody's pulling the strings and making it happen. The other thing that I was feeling is that it has something to do, I was sensing gold, and that this was being done to hurt the dollar, the US dollar. What I was getting with the Sudan was that this was a positioning effect, a positioning move by certain players who are using it as a proxy to devalue the dollar. It's being done specifically to devalue the dollar. That, I get, is a huge piece of what's happening there. I was getting BRICS, BRICS, which is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and I believe South Africa. Those nations coming together and formulating their own alliance and removing the dollar as their standard of currency. The Sudan, I think, has something to do with that. Now, I'm not a geopolitical expert. I don't know anything about the Sudan. I don't know really what's going on there, but this is intuitively what I was getting, that there is some move behind the scenes. Someone is doing a proxy thing, and it's all about devaluing the dollar. It's to weaken the United States somehow, or to finish it off, I should say, perhaps. And I'm not sure how that would be accomplished. I just think that's what I was getting. That's some sort of motive. Okay. So, let's do Tucker Carlson. I was getting some really interesting stuff today. I was tuning into this one psychically. And what I got with Tucker was I was feeling a sense of sadness and grief, but nothing that would be shown openly or acknowledged openly. I got the sense that Tucker was a little blindsided. Maybe he thought, okay, yeah, maybe I might get fired someday, but it never really like hit home. And this is really kind of like took the wind out of him a little bit. I think it really impacted him, and he's grieving a little bit. But on the outside, he's not. It's like he's got a tough outer shell. Okay, he's not gonna bear that to the world. But it's kind of like this. It kind of like stung a lot, and I feel like he's not showing it, but it did kind of hit home, and it kind of hurt a lot. As you know, that's understandable, of course. I also felt like now there were pieces coming in intuitively, so I'll have to just tell you what I was seeing because I don't know exactly what the full interpretation of this is. It could be symbolic. There could be pieces of it that are literal. So I'm going to tell you what I was seeing. But I saw the rebel flag, which was the Confederate flag, the stars and bars, I think as it's often called. I was getting that image related to Tucker, okay? And for those that don't know, that was the flag of the South during the Civil War in the 1860s. And that, there's so much that I was getting. The first thing I was getting was that image, the stars and bars, there's something that Tucker has. Perhaps he has memorabilia. I don't know if he's a history buff, if he's a Civil War buff. I kind of suspect that he might be. Maybe he loves history. Maybe he's got some artifacts, some museum pieces or stuff like that from the Civil War. And I feel like he's a study of history, especially the Civil War. And there's a reason for that. I'll get into that in a minute. What I honed in on was almost like a Confederate ring, like a stars and bars ring. And I don't know if it's literal or symbolic, but I'm getting it connected with Tucker. And I almost got the feeling that there are some who are responsible for him being gone at Fox News. And there's a segment that is wanting to exploit his connection with that hobby or passion of collecting Civil War memorabilia and turn it around on him to paint him as some kind of fanatic, some type of, I don't know, separatist, segregationist type of person. Wanting to kind of pervert that into something else and paint him as this other thing that he's not in order to further an agenda or a cause. Okay. I think we've already seen this a little bit. There's been some rumblings about Civil War within Fox News, which is oddly enough, that there seems to be some that are sticking up for Tucker and others that are like probably trying to toe the line and not say anything about it, whatever. So I was seeing the Civil War reference. I think that there's more to it than just an allegory for a Civil War in Fox News. I think there's a connection to the past for Tucker. And then what I was seeing was, I believe that Tucker Carlson possibly had a role in the Civil War in a past life. What I was seeing was Tucker in a Civil War uniform, and he was on horseback. I'm seeing like out in wherever they were, somewhere. But I was seeing him in uniform, and I got the sense that he headed up a regiment. So if he does, and I would love fact checkers to find this out for me because I don't know this, but if Tucker is a Civil War buff, it would make a lot of sense because of his past life connection. That's my intuitive take on it. That's what I'm picking up on. So there could be a lot playing in from the past life, because if you believe in like quantum string theory, all of everything, the past and the present and the future are all playing together. That gets into quantum physics and all of that. So perhaps a piece of that past is playing out in this lifetime. And it would not surprise me if somebody from some of the battles, maybe on the other side for Tucker, are some of the players today that are out to get him, or vice versa, that are at odds. These things continue to play out in various forms. That's my belief. But that's what I see. So, a Civil War connection is very real with Tucker Carlson. And I was getting something like a timpani. If anybody has any ideas on what that could be related to the Civil War, I don't know. I might have to ask somebody I know who's a history buff as well. But he's not here right now. So anyway, so that's what I get for that. Some timpani I was hearing. And I don't know if is that a musical thing? I don't know what that is. But that word was coming to me again and again. Timpani. It could have been a battle. I'm not sure. Anyway, so that's what I was picking up on with the Tucker thing. So I could get into the cards a little bit and see kind of what the deal is. Maybe I'll do that in another video. I want to just kind of get this little video out there. My welcoming myself back video to YouTube and Rumble. Let's talk about Anheuser Busch. That's the other thing that's been like big in the news, and I haven't looked at this intuitively yet. I do have thoughts on it and opinions on it, but that's not the point of this channel. The point of this channel is more intuitive look at what's going on in our world. So Anheuser Busch, my original take, just my thoughts on it, was that there has been a large push in the United States and other places too for the trans acceptance, the agenda accepting those who are trans, and it's been steadily, becoming more of a thing to where now it's like, okay, we have to accept every fetish. People want to drag children into this, and so there's been some tolerance. This is how I see what's played out. There's been a measured level of tolerance. It's like, okay, if a guy wants to dress up as a woman, a lot of especially conservative people that are more libertarian minded are going to be like, live and let live. If that's what you want to do, float your boat. Just don't involve me and don't involve children. And this cultural shift has been taking place. And then all of a sudden we have major corporate media, major corporations getting in, and they have to push it in their advertising. We're seeing, men dressed as women, women dressed as men in advertising. There was one recently for Booking.com. Lots of different companies are like jumping in on this. Like, this is the next thing that they have to push. And I think what's happening is they're running into the tolerance level is pretty much running out on the people that have said, okay, live and let live. If that's your thing, that's fine. Just don't bother me with it. Suddenly, you're bothering me with it. And okay, I'm not talking about myself. But this is what I'm seeing in the culture. You're bothering us with it. If you want to do it yourself, that's fine. But now it's in my media. It's on TV when I'm trying to have dinner. It's on, my kids are seeing this. This is like, it's too much. We're tolerant of it for you, but don't push it on me. And that's what's happening now. This has been building and building for quite a while. Okay. This has been happening so much in the media. Anheuser Busch comes along and picks someone, I won't name names, someone who is very polarizing, like over the top. And what it did was all of the cultural backlash and resentment that's been building, suddenly somebody pulled the drain, or whatever analogy you want for this. Anheuser Busch tipped the scales. And all of the collective anger that's been building and building with people going, you're testing my patience, you're testing my patience. Anheuser Busch is getting the brunt of all of the cultural backlash. And some people are saying it's, they're, wow, what happened? It's almost too much on Anheuser Busch. What? They removed some people, leave of absence, but it's not enough because they opened a can of worms on themselves. They tipped the scale. They could have just done a little bit, the incremental thing, the frog in the boiling water. You just turn it up little by little, and then the frog eventually cooks and dies. You turned up the heat too fast, Anheuser Busch, and the frogs went, hell no, we're out of here. That's what happened. My take on it, but that's what happened. So Anheuser Busch really stepped in it. They didn't incrementalize. And of course, who knows? There could have been a tipping point at any point. People have their boundaries, their lines that you don't cross, and we can tolerate up to here. But if you get to here, it's over. And that was the piece that tipped it over the scales. Last I heard, their sales their stock is plummeting. Their sales are continuing to go down. Even it's been a couple weeks now. And stores aren't selling. The bleeding is still going on. And if that company wants to stop the bleeding, they're going to have to figure out what they need to do a mea culpa and an I'm sorry to their base, to the people that support them. I think acknowledging that we went a bridge too far, that there's only so much that the collective can handle right now with that agenda, with that trans agenda. And there's a reason that those things take time over many decades to change the culture. If you change it too fast, it's like revolt. And that's what's happened. So in light of that, I'm going to take a look at the cards and maybe see what is happening with the company. Are they going to survive this? Are they going to figure it out? Are they going to apologize? Are they going to figure out what they did, what they didn't do? That's anybody's guess right now. So I'm going to pause this and see if I can pull some cards on that. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, so I've moved the camera angle so you can see me shuffle cards and see me lay the cards out. So we're going to take a look at Anheuser Busch and ask intuitive guidance to show, is the company going to recover from this fallout? Are they going to recover from this? Is this going to end the company? Are they going to bounce back? What's it going to look like for them? So let's take a look. I'm going to use my broader view eye spread. And I call it that because it kind of looks, it reminds me of an eye, the shape of an eye. So let's take a look at that. I'm going to shuffle up here. I've got my little tiny deck. This is a Rider-Waite deck. But we're asking about Anheuser Busch with the broader view spread. We're going to look at the issue, how to understand the issue, what's coming into view, what's fading from view, the wisdom to gain from this. What is the wisdom to gain, and what is the culmination outcome for Anheuser Busch through all of this? How is this going to affect that company? Asking for the right and perfect cards, fall in the right and perfect order, according to the highest and best. All right. So the first card out is the issue. The issue is money. The Ten of Pentacles is a card of money. And then we have another 10. So 10s are also about completion, something being final. And that is understanding the issue. So it's a burden about money. The 10 of Wands being the burden card. Coming into view is the Hermit. Wow, what a great card. A card of introspection. A card of looking within to find the answers. It's like soul searching. This is the time when the Hermit shows up. You look within yourself to find the answers. Fading from view is the Triumphal Entry card. Oh, that's not a good one on fading from view. This is what's leaving. The Six of Wands is a card of reward. It's recognition, happiness, reward, all of that. And that's leaving. What should be done? We have the Page of Pentacles. This is an adjustment. The pages are messengers, and this is a message about money, values, and education. And the page is a messenger about taking care. I think that there's a piece of this company that probably feels as though they're too big to fail. Like this is just going to blow over. But it's empty. I'm focused on this little pentacle here. And he's facing into this card. This card, I don't know if you can see what I'm talking about here. Hopefully you can. Maybe I could zoom this in a little bit. Okay. So this card here is facing into this 6. There's 2 circles here, but one is empty. This is the card of what's leaving and fading away. And it's like trying to get back their reputation. The Triumphal Entry card is like, here we are, we're wonderful, amazing. And this is like, we're trying to get back to that. But there's a message about that being a real issue. I think this has really harmed their brand. Maybe more than anyone realizes. The culmination outcome is up in the air. And I'm going to move these over so you can see them a little better. This is the 2 of Pentacles, the card of weighing your options. Things are up in the air. That's an interesting dynamic on the culmination. I think it's going to depend on the messenger here. The messenger is faced trying to fix the reputation. And whether that is successful depends on whether the company survives or dies. Wow. That's really fascinating. Okay. Oh, oops, I don't need that card. I was on the wrong spread. So there's my 6. Actually, that's supposed to go there. I have my spread written out here. That's how it looks. Okay. So it's supposed to go there. This is the culmination outcome, and it's up in the air. Underneath is the world card, the card of success. So I do think there's still hope for the company if they figure it out and do the right thing, whatever that is. And it's probably going to involve doing a mea culpa, figuring out what their base is, getting back to their mission and vision statement, whatever that is for the company, and steering clear of politically charged issues. And because really it's an agenda, it's a politically charged issue. And I think a lot of companies would do really well to, I guess we can zoom that back out. Okay. A lot of companies would do well to steer clear of these issues. People buy beer for beer's sake, not because they want to lecture. People buy other things because they need a product, not because they want to feel lectured or want to feel like there's an agenda. And I could get into the advertising right now is atrocious across the board. And maybe it's different in wherever, if you live in a different country, maybe it's better where you are. The United States, we're just getting inundated and saturated with agenda-driven advertising. It's like everybody's on this social justice construct, this social change construct. And it's not where the people want to be, It's like the NFL screwing up. People want to go watch football. They don't want to be lectured about pride or diversity or any of that. It's like, and advertisers, corporations, they're all in on this indoctrination and they're not getting the message. And I think that the Anheuser Busch thing was a wake-up call for those companies that are willing to see the truth and to just market their products and stop with the social change and the dynamics. But we have to look at the root of where that's coming from. And that could be a whole nother video. So I'm going to stop here. This was a lot. Thank you all for listening. And I am looking forward to being back on here more regularly. And if you liked it, leave a like. Be sure and subscribe. And I hope to be doing these a little more often. We'll see. I probably won't be doing week ahead, month ahead type stuff. But I may pop on when there's something interesting to talk about. So I thought I'd tackle all of those 3 in one video. I hope you enjoyed it, everybody. We'll catch you next time. Intuitive Edge signing out. Bye for now.